Horsham District Football League time. And, well, it's not exactly an exciting time, but Big Peter Weir, he's as excited as he could possibly be because his side got up last week in a great win. How are you, Peter?
Yeah, not too bad, Wayne. And yeah, there was a few positives around last weekend and a bit of rain fell across the state for the farmers. But yeah, we got brought back to earth pretty quickly with another lockdown just announced yesterday in Victoria. So once again, the footy boots go back in the rack for another weekend.
I heard, though, that down your way there was a golf day on Sunday, and it might be that there's a few blokes who are more disappointed about missing out in the golf.
Yeah, definitely the feedback on the messenger group was more concerned about whether golf got cancelled as well. But, yeah, we've missed a good social day there on Sunday as well.
Oh, what a pain. All right, let's get to last week's games and do a review. And as we get into it, Caniva and the Edenhope Apsley report, it was a big performance by the Cougars. They went down to Laharam's Cameron Oval and came home 12-7-79 to Laharam 10-5-65.
Yeah, pretty closely contested game there, and Caniva will be very happy to get the win and just work their way up the ladder a little bit. Now they're in position 8th, which is a lot more respectable from where they have been for a lot of the season. And, yeah, I noticed in the reserves there too, they had a good win, and BJ Hawker kicked 9 out of 10 goals, so a ripping performance from him up at full forward in the twos game.
Yeah, I was going to mention that he's asking for a bit of promotion to the seniors, but what about the under-14 lads? They got up and won 5-6-36 to Laharam 4-11-35, a one-pointer, so the Caniva team got 3 wins on the day at Laharam, and all really good wins.
Yeah, definitely a shining light, the under-14 boys for the Caniva team this year, and that shows they will have some good depth at the club as the years go on if they decide to stay in the Horsham District League and come through the ranks.
Oh, that's great stuff. Well, Edenhope Apsley took the road trip to the Dock Lake, and oh, what a game of footy it was. 10-11 to the home side, 71. Edenhope Apsley, 10-10-70.
Yeah, the boys got home there at Taylor's Lake. Bit of a northerly breeze obviously favoured one end of the ground because the scoring was done at one end most of the day. And yeah, for the Edenhope boys, so close within a point, but they still would have been wrapped to be in a game, which has been a bit of a tough season for them. They haven't been this close. So unfortunately for them, they didn't quite get over the line, but it was very much a local effort again. And the Keeley boys and the Butler boys, who are household names down there at Edenhope, played some good games for their team.
Yeah, they certainly did. It was Langley with 2, Walker booted a couple, and as you mentioned, Butler, Keeley, Langley, Walker, and Keeley also named in their better players. Watkins and Whelan a couple, and Lawson 2 for Taylor's Lake on the day. But so really for the Edenhope Apsley boys, a chance for a win, but not quite able to get there in the end. Okay, let's go to other matches now, and Haradjua Kwantong took on Kalki in an absolute beauty over at Kalki. It was 11-4-70 to the Bombers, and they had a win over Kalki, 7-13-55, and it's not often the Bomber boys have ventured to Kalki and got a win.
No, it was a top-of-the-table clash and a great game of footy. And I see the Kalki boys had 20 shots at goal. So one of few teams this year that's been able to penetrate the Haradjua Kwantong defence. But just unfortunately for the Kalki boys, they didn't kick straight enough. And I'm not sure whether that was easy shots at goal they were missing, or maybe it was a bit more rush footy and long bombs from outside, because I know that the Kwantong boys defend really well as a team. But a lot of positives there to take out of the game for Kalki. And just on a bit of a sour note for the Haradjua Kwantong team, I learned during the week that Jason Kerr's done his ACL, and as we've mentioned before, he's a ripping player for them. And I reckon if you ask Gareth Hose, one player he wouldn't want to lose out of the team would be Jason. So that's going to be a big loss for the Haradjua Kwantong boys as we go into finals.
Oh, certainly will be. Harrow Balmoral 17-10, 112 defeated the Swifts 6-5-41. Indeed, the Kangaroo train is now on the march, and they swiftly did away with Stall.
Yeah, they did. Big Brady Hargraves, who coaches Stall now, was best on ground, so he tried to lift his team, and he would have had some good battles against the Harrow big men. But yeah, Harrow boys are just tracking along nicely now, and you see the likes of Cody Deutscher and Clint Robinson and Peter Stouty back in the team. They're not household names, but they're ripping players, and they know how to get the job done at this time of the year. So the Harrow boys are just sneaking along very nicely at the moment. And
I'll tell you what, it was a loss they didn't want, the Swifts, because it put the Nadimak United into the top 6, 12-15-87 to Pimpanayo, 8-7-55. And given the lockdown, that could have significant implications.
Yeah, definitely. And you go back to a few weeks ago when Natty Muck got over the line at Stall, and that's looking like it was a mini elimination final now. And Natty Muck and Pimpernel was a close enough game there for a while, but as usually happens when Natty Muck gets on top, Sam Anson starts finding the footy and Nathan Koning kicks goals, and it looks like that's what happened on the weekend.
Certainly was. 12-15, 87 to the Rams, beating Pimpernel 8-7-55. Time for us to have a look at the Jeparit Rainbow Storm report, and this was one of the big upsets of the season. It was the boys from the Storm, 13-11-89, beating Rapanyup 7-5-47. The Panthers wondered what hit them. It was a storm from out west.
Yeah, it was a great game of footy. Both teams were missing a few key players, but that didn't take anything away from the game. And for the Rapanyup team, Alec Kelly, who I reckon is the best player in the comp, was awesome again. And watch out for him to have a big finals campaign because he's just made for finals footy. And yeah, for our boys, Scotty Driscoll led the way again in the middle, and Ash Clugston played a ripping game up forward alongside young Xavier Oakley on the half-forward flank, and they both helped themselves to a fair few goals and really set us up for a great game and what turned out to be a great win.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Kirkwood with 4 and Clugston with 4. Weir with 2. Kirkwood's put his hand up for the Jeparit Rainbow leading goal kicker now, and I think he's got an unassailable lead.
I think he definitely does flow, man, and rightfully so. And yeah, he stepped up again on the weekend in the wet, and he's just hard to match up on. He plays big, even though he's small. Once the ball hits the ground, you can't handle him either. So once again, he's going to be a player to watch in the final series.
Oh, well said and well spoken about your teammate. Looking at the reserve grade, and I'll tell you what, the lads have not enjoyed the greatest of seasons, and Rapanyup showed you a footy lesson, 17-7, 109 to 4-1-25.
Yeah, Adam Schultz played well, and he's on the comeback trail from injury, which could be handy as a key position player because, yeah, unfortunately in the senior game, I forgot to mention that Lucas Essenwanger, who's been a really good centre-half back for us and only at 22 years old now, is going in for his second knee reconstruction. So the only downer on a very good day at Rapanyup. But, yeah, Adam Schultz will fill his role now in the seniors at full back. But, yeah, best wishes to Lucas in his recovery from knee injury.
Oh, I tell you what, they have to get him off the plumbing tools first to get him out there on the field. But, gee, he would be a very good acquisition. Gelligan booted 2 for Jeparit Rainbow. Lang booted 8 for Rapanyup and Teesdale. Great for them. Hopper, Cousins and Clark played well also with Schulz for Jeparit Rainbow Storm. Heading into the 17 grade, and, gee, there's been some tough football games played this year for the kids because they come up against another really, really good outfit on the day and, unfortunately, not able to get the job done.
No, the mercy rule happened pretty quickly in this game, but once they did, as we so often see, even the teams up a little bit, our boys were able to hit the scoreboard, and Cooper Stasnowski, who's only an under-14 kid, I see, kicked 3 goals and got in the best players. So that's a great game for him to play well in the under-17s and boost his confidence going forward with his footy.
Absolutely, and that's what we want to see, the kids improving in their games, and no doubt about it, last weekend a good opportunity for the kids to shine, even though at Rapanyup it was a very rainy day. And in the 14-year-old age group, the lads came out, and unfortunately they got nailed, but it was not a mercy in the end, which was good to see. 6-14-50 to Rupp, beating Jeparit Rainbow 1-1-7.
Yeah, they kicked the first goal of the game, but unfortunately it was all downhill from there for the JR Storm boys. But one shining light was young Weir, who played his best game for the club and, yeah, had the ball on a string, as he tells me, and, yeah, played a ripping game in the under-14s. Yeah,
Badua got the goal. The celebration was good, but there was not much more celebrating after that. The Eckerman boys, there's 3 of them. They're all in the better players again, and young Fisher also with young Lenny Weir name. So great stuff from the kids there. Okay. We have a lockdown, but we do have a premiership table that looks something like this. And I want to go through the premiership table first because I think it bears to do that as we then look at what could be the scenarios for Horsham District Football. Narrabri Quantong, 44. Rapanyup, 36. Now, Jeparit Rainbow up to 36. Equal on points, but percentage separates them. The top 2 sides get the double chance. Harrow Balmoral, 32. They've got a better percentage than Jeparit Rainbow. Cowkey, 32. And then Natty Muck, 24. They are your top 6. Swifts, 20. That's it. So now, Weiry, with that top 6, explain just where you think that goes.
Well, I think with our league, with the 12 teams, there's a real opportunity now just to call the season as it is, because with the lockdown extended for 7 days, it's not going to be until this time next week that we come out of lockdown. So it's probably unlikely we'll be able to go straight into that last home game, and in a way it'd be unnecessary. So I think maybe the league now will look at the table as it is and just moving straight into finals, and that gives everyone a clear focus for 3 weeks' time and just get into the finals series as it stands at the moment.
It's interesting because you could say that's one scenario. Scenario 2 could be that we play one more round of games. And so the league simply has 1 versus 2, 3 versus 4, 5 versus 6, and 7 versus 8, 9 versus 10, 11 versus 12. It wouldn't affect the positions in terms of the top 6 directly because you're not going to play the same side in finals in the context of it, except for maybe Narrabri, Kontong or Opanion meeting each other later on. I'm just wondering, could the league do that? That would then still give the Swifts a chance of playing finals football, given that Nadimak would take on Kalkee, Swifts would get Canova-Leor.
Yeah, there's so many different scenarios, and I do feel a little bit sorry for senior teams who won't be making finals because it would be an abrupt end to their season. But maybe throughout the grades, there'll be other teams within these senior clubs that aren't going to be represented in finals, and it might be a good chance to put some focus on maybe some junior football or junior netball or other grades of football and netball rather than the focus being on the senior grade. So I think a lot of things will be tossed up, but yeah, I think the obvious one is just to move straight into a final series now, Flyman.
What about having 2 more games to finish the season and moving finals? Is that unlikely given the Wimmera football finals and AFL grand finals?
Yeah, I think that could be done, but the end date's pretty final. So I think, they've got that end date to work with, so not too many things can budge from there. So I'm doubtful that will be the case. All
right. So, and with the final series, would it be a 3-week final series still with the 3 playing 6 and 4 playing 5 and then so forth, and then the following week the same scenario as preliminary finals?
Yeah, I think they should aim for a top 6 because that's what everyone's been focused on for the whole year and determined to make the top 6. So to change the final structure, I think wouldn't be the right thing to do, but there's no reason why we still can't have the top 6 start in a couple of weeks' time and hopefully get a free run with COVID and see some good footy played in front of some crowds and, finish off with what's been an interrupted season, but it's still been great to be out playing footy after having the previous year off altogether.
Yeah, I tell you what, for the Japan Rainbow Storms people, getting that win over against Rapania has given a lot of belief that the Storm can mix it and even premiership this year could be on the agenda. Wonderful season, despite everything that's gone wrong with the 3 lockdowns. We're still being able to get some sort of season out of Horsham District and hopefully a final series as things warm up into spring and maybe some good crops coming up for everyone weary as we see the rain that's been falling.
Yeah, there's definitely light at the end of the tunnel, Flowman, and I've no doubt the crops will turn out not too bad in the Mallee, and let's hope a good final series ahead of us as well.
Great stuff. Peter Weir, Horsham District Football League.